In this video, we will look at the major scale in two ways to approach diatonic harmony. Diatonic harmony is when all the notes used to construct and harmonize a melody are derived from a major scale or a minor scale. For the convenience of guitar, we will use the A major scale as seen here. In the first approach, we will use each chord degree to represent its scale degree. For the A note, we use the tonic chord of A major. Descending to the G sharp note, we use the subtonic chord of G sharp diminished. Descending to the next note of F sharp, we use the submediant chord of F sharp minor. Continuing, we see all the chords in the key of A major. Next, we will invert the chords and put them on a music staff to easily see the scale degree is on the top of each chord for the key of A major. We do this as the ear has a propensity to identify the highest pitch as the melody. The scale inverted with the scale degree on top of each triad sounds like this. This gives us a quick three-part harmony for each scale degree. With this example, we see two types of the four types of harmony motion: parallel and similar. Parallel motion is when notes move in the same direction and the same distance. Similar motion is when notes move in the same direction but a different distance. Here is an example of parallel motion. And here is an example of similar motion. This approach to harmony gives us a step feel, as though walking up or down a staircase without much changing in our scenery. Our second approach will use a chord progression to represent each note. In our past videos, we looked at the stable progression using the motion of a 5. We will use the 1-4-5 progression to represent each note of the major scale. First, we look at the notes that construct each chord. Each chord can serve as a representative for the notes that construct it. In the key of A major, the 1-4-5 progression is A major, D major, and E major. Starting with the tonic chord, A major, it uses the A, C sharp, and E notes from the A major scale. The 4 chord, D major, uses the notes D, F sharp, and A and can represent those notes. Next is the 5 chord, E major. Its notes are E, G sharp, and B. These 3 chords cover all the notes of the A major scale, which gives us enough chords to represent each scale degree. When a note can be represented by 2 chords, such as the A note or the E note, we will give priority to the tonic chord of A. It isn't always the best representative, but it's the most stable place to start. Let's have a look. Here are the notes of the A major scale: A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G sharp. And here are the 1-4-5 chords and their respective notes. The A note can be represented by the A major chord, the tonic chord, or D major, the subdominant chord. The B note can be represented by the E major chord, or the dominant chord. The C sharp can be represented by the A major chord, or the tonic chord. The D note can be represented by the D major chord, or the subdominant chord. The E note can represent the A major chord, or E major chord, the dominant chord. The F sharp note can be represented by the D major chord. The G sharp can be represented by the E major chord, the dominant chord. Now that we have the notes and their chord representatives, let's apply them to a scale in harmony. We will invert each chord to make sure the scale degree is the highest pitch of each chord as seen here. Let's move these notes to a music staff to easily see the scale degree and the chords that represent them for the key of A major. The top staff is with the tonic chord, and the lower gives the substitutions for the chords that share notes with the tonic chord. I've added tab for the guitarist to allow for a quick insight into the fingering and positions. Feel free to interpret your own. Let's have a listen to the scale harmonized with the 1-4-5 progression. In this example, we see another type of motion, oblique motion. Oblique motion is when one voice moves and one voice stays at its current spot, as seen here. Let's listen to the sound of oblique motion. This approach to harmony is much richer to the ear with the oblique motion. Both have their place and can be found in works by composers. As you practice playing the scale with inversion harmony, you will get to where you can improvise the harmony over melodies. Next, we will apply the progression harmony to a melody. This is a great approach for nursery rhymes and simple seasonal music. For our first example, we will use the melody from Mary Had a Little Lamb. We see that the melody from Mary Had a Little Lamb starts on the 3rd degree of the scale, the median. Here is the melody. And here is the progression harmony. Let's do one more. Happy Birthday is a great example of how a note can be represented by 2 chords. Below is the melody. And the harmony. We're going to reinterpret this a little differently. We're going to use the dominant 7th for the 5 chord. This also allows the E7 to represent the D note in the melody. Here we can actually see the contrary motion, the 4th of the 4 types of motion. We see that Happy Birthday begins on the 5th degree of the scale. In the first measure, the E note is represented by the A major, the tonic chord. In the second pass of the melody, it is represented by the dominant chord of E major. Apply this to other melodies. I recommend playing the scale of the key you want to play the song in. This sets the key in your mind, then hum a melody and transcribe it, and add the harmony. In future videos, we will use other minor keys, but if you like, you can turn the 1 and the 4 chords minor, leaving the 5 chord dominant or major, and instantly modulate to the key of A harmonic minor. In closing, let's review what we've covered. Starting with the 4 types of voice motion. Parallel, voices move in the same direction, same distance. Similar, the voices move the same direction in different distances. Oblique, one voice moves and one voice is stationary. Contrary, voices move in different directions. Harmonizing the major scale, descending in diatonic harmony using each chord for each degree of the scale. The major scale ascending using the inversions of the 1-4-5 progression. The parallel minor key of A minor descending in the A harmonic minor key using the 1-chord minor, the 4-chord minor, and the 5-chord dominant seventh. I hope you enjoy your journey.